Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our episode number 13 of the Hopenning. And it's very hard to believe that it has been 13 weeks since we
Mhm.
started this new journey. I want to welcome you, and today I want to introduce you again to the wonderful Fran, who is my partner in crime or not. And she is a full-time teacher. She's been teaching elementary school children for the last 33 years in Northern Alberta, Canada. And she's also a certified hypnotherapist that is specializing in rapid transformational therapy. So, as myself, Fran is a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. And I am Marina. I'm also in Alberta. I feel like I'm stumbling over myself today. With one foot in British Columbia. I am at the moment at my house in Calgary. And I am a full-time rapid transformational therapy practitioner, certified hypnotherapist. My background is in music. I'm a singer. I will never stop singing, always have a song in my head. So that's one of my biggest passions. And so Fran and I have the Hopenning, our wonderful vlog and Facebook group that's all about hope happening and bringing hope in your life, being open to receive hope, and in whichever way we can do it. We love that our audience is growing so fast. It's absolutely amazing. And thank you for everybody being here. So today we are only answering questions, and thank you to everyone who took the time to send us some questions in. Some of the questions are very general about what we do, and then a couple are about our theme for the month, which is love. And we may not get through everything today, but we will do our absolute best. So, Fran, why don't you kick us off with some of the questions we received?
Awesome. Thank you, Marina. And I am so pleased to be here again today. Question number one, Marina, why hypnotherapy and not psychotherapy? And what is the difference?
Thank you for the question, Fran. And I want to start with what exactly it is that we do. Even though we are certified hypnotherapists, we are licensed and we are insured to do rapid transformational therapy. And that is not quite the pure hypnotherapy like you would see on TV or in the movies or on stage or even at psychotherapist offices. There's a little twist in this, and rapid transformational therapy is kind of a standalone field. And I first want to start off with a video that explains exactly what it is. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, let's start this video.
Rapid Transformational Therapy, otherwise known as RTT, harnesses the most powerful healing potential on the planet, the mind. RTT is based on the science of neuroplasticity and combines the most beneficial principles of hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, NLP, CBT, and neuroscience. How does it work? In order to explain how RTT works, let's consider the mind as two different dimensions: the conscious and subconscious. We might say that your conscious mind is your thinking mind, the one that analyzes everything and makes you aware of what you are aware of thinking. Like the conversation you've just had, the project you're working on, that list of to-dos, and what you were having for dinner. Your subconscious mind is like your autopilot. It regulates how your body breathes, the pumping of your heart, the blinking of your eyelids. It's what keeps you alive without even thinking about it. We operate from our subconscious 95% of the time. The subconscious mind acts like a giant library or vault where everything we've ever experienced is sorted. And these imprints inform our understanding of the world and our place within it. The beliefs we form are responsible for our thoughts, feelings, and behaviours. Sometimes we need to look back at those old beliefs, as they may be holding us back or affecting our behaviour in destructive ways. Think of your subconscious mind like a video camera that is constantly recording with no off switch. When we choose to engage our conscious mind, we can control where we put our focus. Edit out noise, we can think about the light and shade, select what we want to film and how we want to present something. Our conscious mind only sees a small fragment of the information we are recording. Security cameras are a classic example. When we watch video footage for a second or third time, we gain valuable insight. We notice so much more, form new understandings, and have the possibility to see things differently. When you see things differently, you're able to let go of the meaning you attach to the events from your past and experience a greater freedom than ever before. Rapid transformational.
Mhm. Great video.
Isn't
I
that
love it.
wonderful? Yes, so to recap,
Perfect.
RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, it is a combination of neuroplasticity, hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and neuroscience.
Mhm.
So there's not
Yeah.
just one thing in it. So I don't know, Fran, did you want to explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, psychotherapy. What psychotherapy actually is, psychotherapy is anything that's talk therapy that we talk about memories. That's the umbrella. So there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of modalities underneath the psychotherapy. So our modality, rapid transformational therapy, contains some of them in one modality. And that's the beauty of rapid transformational therapy, because we are very good at getting to the root of the problem using whatever means is necessary to find the root of the problem. And it's really, as you and I can both attest, it's quite an amazing, profound modality. It's profound.
Right. Fran, why don't you take us through the steps then, in if I am your client and I come to see you and you do a session of rapid transformational therapy, what can I expect?
Well, when you would come to me, before you would come to me, you filled out an intake form. And on the intake form, you discuss exactly what it is that you want, what your goal is for the session. You would talk about a little bit of family history. You would talk about your main concerns. And not only that, other things that are going on in your life. Perhaps you have some medical issues, certain types of fears, phobias, relationship issues. We get a really good picture of the person who we will see. And once we get this idea, a snapshot, I guess we could call it a snapshot rather than a video camera yet. Once they come to us, we take a little bit more data, and then we would begin the actual therapy session, where we take that client and we regress them to find an episode in their past which triggered the way that they are looking at the world or the way they feel about themselves. So then once we've taken that snapshot, we do it again and again. And sometimes it'll take 4 times. And then we find a theme where you and I and other rapid transformational therapists are very good at finding the theme within what is going on with them. And we help them to see the theme as well. And they're very good at it as well, because it's quite obvious to them as they go through what happened to them in the past about why this is happening right now to them, the way they're in relationships or whatever is going on in their life that they want help with. And then we reframe those beliefs. Whatever the belief is that they got from their childhood or from their distant past, we reframe it. And then we make a beautiful recording for them that they listen to for 21 days or more to reprogram their mind, instead of this limiting belief, to an expanded belief of the possibilities of what they're capable of, actually capable of in their life.
Absolutely wonderful. I so love that. So to that, again, there's the question, how does hypnotherapy work? So let's say, how does RTT work? So can you talk about that a little bit?
So RTT, because we use so many different modalities, we're focusing on these the subliminal messages we received as children, young adults, teenagers, whatever it was. We focus on the subconscious that was that created the person that we became. I mean, as we've talked about before, a baby is not born with all these ideas about who they are. I've heard it classed as they're like molten glass. A baby is born like molten glass. So whatever they are experiencing as they age, that's what forms them into the adult or the older child that they become. So rapid transformational therapy looks at and changes those beliefs that what were given to us or that we absorbed to create the shape, that create the human that we became.
That's so interesting. And I really think a lot about examples out of my own life where I believed something about myself and it stopped me from really living my full potential. Mm-hmm. And so in RTT, you are one of the people who helped me when we did our training to find out what that belief was. Where did it originate? And I love to use the analogy of a radio station. Mm-hmm. So, and there are always the three things. I'm not enough. It's not available to me, or I am too different to have that in my life. So those looping thoughts, that's somewhere in our subconscious that's keeping us stuck. And in my life, it was really strong. So you helped me so much with finding out, where did that radio station that played those looping thoughts in my head start? And then to change that messaging and create a new radio station with this beautiful recording that I listened to for 21 days that told me what I'm actually capable of and connecting to the real, authentic me. So that's the absolute beauty of what we do.
And the interesting thing about what you're saying right now is you also did RTT on me. And my goal was to find my voice. When I think back about that a year ago, I wanted to find my voice, and here we are doing a vlog together. It's profound.
It is absolutely. I just cannot even begin to describe we had the opportunity, of course, to do many sessions and to uncover so many loose strings in our lives because we did the training, and I cannot even begin to describe the difference in me. I also did one session because I started to develop this crack in my singing voice. Whenever I sang, I would just have this crack, and to the point where I almost got afraid to sing. And I had a session on that, and so because I sang opera, because I trained in opera, I had young teenage brothers when I was in my training who teased the living daylights out of me. And my one brother would still love to entertain people about the that I did while all these teenage friends came over. And I became so self-conscious. And it's like, I wanted to be quieter. I wanted to subdue myself. I wanted to not be so loud anymore. I don't want to embarrass anybody. And that came out in the session. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I caused that. I wanted to put myself in a box because I was so aware of the old problem of what does other people think. Anyway, that went away. The crack is no
Mhm.
more.
It's beautiful. You know, I feel that. I get it. I understand that too. Same with me in many, many ways. It's beautiful. Yeah. So, Marina, question number 2. Will RTT, when you are getting a session, be uncomfortable? And what are the side effects? And are there long-term effects?
Excellent. Thank you, Fran. Honestly, I have not had one client that ever said to me they felt uncomfortable. Emotional, yes. Uncomfortable, no. I think by first having that discovery session, or I call it a complementary intake, or just a getting to know each other session,
Yeah.
we build a rapport. We start to get to know them. We ask a lot of questions. We clarify a lot of things, because the bigger picture we have, the better we know exactly. And we trained to pick up on certain things. Our intake form was designed by the college, so with that
Mhm.
we can identify certain things that is crucial. And by the time we do this session, we do bring in certain things, like to see some suggestibility tests and things like that. And I absolutely love that too. And so through the meditation that we do as the induction, I feel like people really relax, and it's not woo-woo stuff that you would see in Hollywood on a stage. It is just beautiful relaxation, and we use rapid eye movement, we use breathing, we use visualizations, and we keep on reminding people that they have an absolute brilliant mind, and we keep
Mhm.
it positive.
Mhm.
So uncomfortable, in my own experience, definitely not. And in my clients' experience, I have never heard of anybody being uncomfortable. Side effects, if you talk about negative side effects, well, if you don't want to be free, then maybe that's a side effect. I don't know. I really
I've
cannot think of anything.
I've had clients be tired after the session, tired, and I think it's because anything emotional, um, anything emotional that we go through, you know, there's some tears sometimes, right? And whenever there's tears, cleansing, I call it just cleansing, right? Getting all those toxic emotions and sadnesses and getting that out. Yeah, they're going to be tired after, but no more tired than it would be if going to any other um, sit down talk therapy. This is the same
Well,
thing.
do
I
you
mean,
know how I describe it sometimes to clients, especially when it's something really big and profound that has been
mm,
released? I would describe it as surgery. They just
mm,
cut something out of your body that's not good for you. And now you have some scar tissue that needs to heal a little bit. And because of that, you may be a bit tired.
mhm,
And in my experience with that, when I had cancer, I had tremendous fatigue. And then I had horrible surgeries. And I had to recover from the surgeries. But that cancer was gone, and I could feel it immediately. My husband is
mhm,
due for hip surgery in a few weeks. And that's what the surgeon said to him. You will feel the side effects of the anesthesia and of the surgery, but you will have immediate relief from that dodgy hip that's now gone. And that's my analogy. That's why I think sometimes people are just a little bit tired, because we really release something that people
mhm,
have held on for decades sometimes.
mhm. Yeah, and the feeling of relief. Like, have you had that as well in your clients? Just this huge feeling of relief
Yeah,
that it's like this huge burden. They've been carrying a burden wherever it is,
right.
sometimes different parts of their body, right? You know, that's the way it works. You've been carrying this huge burden of sadness and sometimes anger and sometimes disenchantment and not worthiness. You've been carrying it for so long that it's just such a relief for it to be gone. And
Well,
it's immediate. It really is immediate.
I'm thinking of this video we just saw, and in there it said we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And 95% of our thought is actually coming from the subconscious mind. So think about if you drive to work 5 days a week. Sometimes you get to work and you think, wow, I did that completely subconsciously. I have, my mind was on other things. I cannot even remember how I got here. And that's how a subconscious mind works. So big reliefs that I've seen in life is when we do this session, you get to those scenes.
Mhm.
Say, for example, somebody was shy all their lives. And now you go into the scene and they see themselves when they were a 3-year-old little girl or boy, and that a father had screamed a lot. And they
Mhm.
felt that they couldn't speak up. They would be hiding behind the mom. And now once we saw that, we go to the client and say, can you now understand why you're shy? And then we tell them, well, guess what? You're not that anymore. Let's give you a voice today. Let's
Mhm.
upgrade you. Let's help you to speak up. That's not you anymore. So we go through all those things. Forgiveness, understanding why dad did that, and just that big release. And once they see that, it's just some huge release. And sometimes if they held onto something like shyness all their lives, to let go of that is so huge. And yes, you may be really tired.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Moving on. What are the long-term effects?
Well, I think it comes into a little bit of a different theme here, and it ties into something we're going to get closer to later. Long-term effects. If you watch Hollywood, if you watch movies and you see how hypnotherapy is portrayed, it's completely different than what we do. And I want to differentiate between hypnotism and hypnotherapy. I am not a person that does hypnotism or
Hypnotism.
as a comic relief or as an entertainment. I am a person who goes to help people be free from living their full potential. That is what I've done with myself.
Yeah.
And that is what I do. I help people get free.
We're therapists. We're therapists. And when I when I hear people saying stuff like, Fran, are you going to make me cluck like a chicken? Or is there going to be a trigger word and you're going to have control over me for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
I laugh, but I'm also a little offended that anybody would actually think that of me, that I would want that of that other person. I mean, when people come to me, it's because they've often tried lots of other stuff, whether it's weight loss, they've tried all the different weight loss plans, whether it's super anxiety and they're on meds for a lot of different things. And coming to us is not an easy choice for people.
No.
So when other people say things like, I don't know if I want to give you my mind, Fran, that you would have control of my mind.
I don't want your mind now.
I mean, we have our own mind to control. Thank you very much. But just the idea that people still believe that. Like you've said, movies and TV have done our therapy really a disservice, because there's just miracles that can be miracles, and we've seen it. So
and I almost want to flip it around, because we've had quite a few questions about the control and are we going to basically stay under your spell like in a movie? Will there be a trigger word? Absolutely no. And I almost want to say, every time you turn your TV on, you are absolutely being hypnotized, and not in the way we do it. We unhypnotize you in a sense, if you think of that, because you will watch TV and there will be a hamburger or a pizza and suddenly you're hungry. That is manipulation of your mind. That's not what we do. We do the opposite. We help you to get strong so that when you see that hamburger commercial on TV, you have absolutely no desire to go eat. So that's
Exactly.
exactly what we do.
Yeah. Or when you see the product
Yeah.
that will claim to do all these wonderful things for
Right.
you,
Right.
that rather than thinking that that's going
Right.
to fix the inner whatever it is that
Mhm.
is giving you grief on yourself, your feeling of unworthiness, your feeling that of not enough.
Mhm.
No, I mean, what we do is we help you to see more clearly of your own potential, your own love for yourself. It doesn't need to be fixed by products
Right.
or another person in your life that can give you the love that
Right.
only you can give yourself in order to heal yourself.
And you know, the way we are conditioned by movies is on so many levels. And another thing that I have talked about before, that is an example of how conditioned I was to believe something so much different than the reality, was when I got my cancer diagnosis. I remember the movie Stepmom, when Susan Sarandon got that cancer diagnosis. And what it said in that movie is not you have cancer, it said you are dying. And to me, the day my doctor told me, Marina, you have a malignant carcinoma, I heard, Marina, you're dying. And it took me to get to another specialist who finally said to me, hey, calm down. You're not in Hollywood. You're not on TV right now. Calm down. You have a 98% survival rate here. So it's a completely different story. And it's exactly the same with us. What Hollywood is portraying is entertainment. We're not in the entertainment business. When you see me on stage singing, that's a different thing. But I'm not going to try and hypnotize you then.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
So Fran, let's move on to the questions that ask, what is RTT effective for? And just go into also, will the client see results? And can they get rid of a fear of flying and lose weight?
Well, let's just put it this way. You can get rid of a fear of anything. Fear of flying, fear of, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, what is it effective for? Okay, anxiety, depression, weight loss, stop smoking, stop drinking. List some more for me.
Well, we talked the last 3 weeks about finding love.
Finding
we
love.
talked about creating love in children, or letting children love themselves. Sports performance is a huge one. And it's all about believing in yourself. It's not about putting a spell on you. It's believing in yourself, loving yourself. It's not about this blueprint of, if you do this, you're going to find the love of your life. It's about loving yourself, feeling that love for yourself, and how many other things it unlocks. In my experience, I've had, and this kind of segues into where we're going next week. I looked at my testimonials on my website the other day, and I've had so many positive, miraculous shifts for people in finances after they came to me for money blocks. And I think that's one of the things that surprised me the most, is the success that I've had with that. And I will tell you next week about that a little bit more. But yeah, smoking, addictions, just not feeling good enough, work in your workplace. One of the things that I specialize in is women in their 50s who got to that place. My kids moved out. I'm an empty nester. I've done all these things in their lives. Now suddenly, what now?
Exactly.
I've done this job for all my life. What now? So I help people. I like women because that's my experience. I've never been a man in my life. I like to help women to be who are where I was 15 years ago, to just find their love for life and to find that they're actually worthy to achieve any dream. And it's never too late to dream.
And I've worked with mothers, moms that that were having difficulty with their children. I've worked with children that were highly anxious or that didn't feel like they were being included. They didn't feel that school was including them enough. They were way too shy at school and they didn't know how to control that. And these are children. So when you have a child who's already feeling that way, I can't even imagine when you've got a 60 or 50-year-old with all the extra stuff that you've collected in baggage along the way, who started in the same place, that they didn't feel good enough, that they felt anxious, that they felt shy, that they were afraid to public speak, the public speaking one.
That's a
the
big
most
one, yes.
scariest thing in the world, I think, that they think is public speaking.
Yeah.
Fear of flying, it's all about changing the mindset, changing our beliefs, changing our beliefs about ourselves and the world, really.
Be positive about it. So I've had procrastination.
Yeah, me too.
And I've also had an interesting one, a singer who kind of almost also felt that she didn't have a voice. So she would love to sing, but she didn't have the courage to actually do it. And now she does.
I've had golf games, and
That's
I've
perfect.
also had relationship issues with family of origin. Mother issues, father issues, sibling issues. It's just endless. Like as many issues as are in the world. Right? Any fears, phobias,
and lose weight. Lose weight is a big one.
Obsessive compulsive disorders, Asperger's, stuff on the autism spectrum. Super interesting stuff.
So we've had a question about how many sessions it will take. And how fast, let me just organize myself. How many sessions will it take?
For certain things, most often, in my experience, it's been one session. I've had clients come back for 2 sessions. I've never done a client for 3 sessions. Marina, have you?
I've had done clients over 12 weeks, but just because I'm trained in that as well, to do a more coaching program that I combine with RTT. I've done, and it depends on the issue, and a lot of times I always say it's like peeling the onion. Once you take one layer away and it's not there anymore, they suddenly see something else that they come back for. And like in our training, people say 1 to 3 sessions, but depending, if there's a lot of trauma, it definitely takes more. So, but I've had tremendous results like that.
And I've had clients come to me for medical issues, headaches, bad back, those kinds of things. And the underlying reason had nothing to do with the medical reason, right? It was an emotion, something emotional that happened to them as a child. So it's like, whoa, super interesting, right? You go back and you find out, wow, that's why the medical issue arose, was because of this emotional thing that happened to you when you were so tiny. And the subconscious mind is very good at making itself heard once it's allowed to. Once we start to dig and ask the subconscious mind about what's going on with this person, the subconscious mind wants to speak to get that relief.
So I just see a question here quickly that I don't think we're really touched on, and that is, will I lose control?
Mm. Okay, and one word or less? No. The client always has control. If they get to a scene where it's too difficult to talk about to me, I tell them that before we even begin. If it's too difficult to talk to for me, you do not have to tell me anything. But if you can, I want you to stay with it, because your subconscious mind is bringing this up for you right now. So your subconscious mind wants to be heard. So stay with the scene, even if you can't tell me about it, that's okay. And we will guide you through it. That's what we do. We guide them through it so that they
Right.
can see as an adult back to see what might have formed that belief at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we have next?
Ooh, well, we've gone under a lot of things. We've talked about a lot of things today.
We have. So we've had in this month of February, we've talked a lot about love. And there was somebody who sent in questions about, we talked about many things. And we had the lovely Eleni here with us last week, talking about how to find a high quality man. And then somebody said, but how do you keep that? How do you keep a healthy, happy relationship?
Mm-hmm. You're the expert.
I've been keeping mine. Now I have to go back to the 2 weeks ago when I actually talked about that, because once I knew myself, once I accepted myself, once I didn't have to pretend to be somebody I am not, and loved myself, I could determine who it was I wanted. What was it that I wanted in a partner? What was it that I would have felt was important to me? Even things, I remember one of the most important things is this person will add value to my life and not take away from it. Emotionally, physically, financially, everything. And this person will treat my children like his own. That was important things to me. There were lots of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that. I got whatever was on my list. I got who I wanted because I knew who I was. And it's 10 years later. And it's amazing because there was not one day in this last 10 years where I had to pretend to be somebody I am not. And to me, that in my relationship has been the winning recipe. I cannot talk for other people. I find my husband absolutely interesting. I would sometimes sit in conversations and admire him so much for his intelligence and the person he is. That's why I wanted a person that would interest me. And then the sense of humor, I would watch him and I would enjoy who he is, and I would be proud that he is mine.
So, Marina, how can RTT help to create a healthy, happy relationship in a couple that's already together?
That's a very interesting question. I guess you have to go look in the subconscious mind, what the history is there. So if they come to your friend, do you think it will be because they're not happy?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they afraid of not being happy?
Oh, could be either, but what I have had in my clients is an unhappy relationship.
An unhappy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that you work with them together or individually?
Individually. Yeah, I only worked with the female in the relationship.
Well, it would be always to go to the root cause. Why is there unhappiness? And I'm pretty sure you would have done that.
Mm-hmm. And I found that it had a lot to do with expectations and something in their past, right? Something in that girl's past, that lady's past, that made whatever was going on in the relationship big. So it could have been feeling like she had a lack of a voice. So she couldn't communicate with her spouse how she was feeling about certain things, or feeling that she had no right to talk about something that was bothering her. Those things which had built up to the point where it was creating a rift in the actual relationship. It's not that the person, their spouse was a problem. It was their own beliefs about what was happening that maybe didn't have anything to do with the marriage. It had to do with stuff that happened in their past. It
So
needed to be worked on.
intuitively right now, what I'm getting, Fran, is that a lot of the things we work on comes back to how much do you love yourself? And then how much are you willing to forgive? I heard something so profoundly in the last week. I had to make a note of this. And it is, if you say every single day to everybody that in every situation you appreciate it, you have gratitude for it, you care for it, and you have compassion for it, and you repeat that over and over again, imagine how many relationships you can heal. And then I always have to come back to Wayne Dyer when he tried to find his father's grave. And he wanted, his intention was to go there out of anger and to do things on it that was not very pleasant. But he was overcome by compassion and love the moment he found the grave, and he sat sobbing and he started to say thank you. And that's something I've experienced in my life, is to say thank you to people who've hurt me. And if we can bring that into relationships, if we can bring appreciation, gratitude, care, and compassion into relationships. And then one of the other things is that beautiful Hawaiian proverb of forgiveness, the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. If we can bring that into any relationship, whether it is with a partner, a colleague, a friend, a relative, even if we don't express it out loud to them, but just write it down in a journal, it is miraculous.
Yeah, the power of gratitude is quite amazing. The power of gratitude every day, every day.
Absolutely. So that is what I know about keeping a healthy relationship. And I guess I definitely am extremely appreciative of my husband and grateful that he's in my life. There's not a day that I'm not grateful for him. And then the last question that I think we will have time for today. Let me see, I'm keeping time so that we don't run over. We're right at 40 minutes, just over 40 minutes. So let's do this one. Why do so many women talk about their bad relationships and never about the good relationships with men? What do you have to say to that?
I think that it's a reflection of their own inner self, right? So we see what we choose to see. So if we're unhappy, we will see problems. If we're happy, we see happy, we see good, we see positive. So in order to become happy, we need to work on ourselves so that we see the good in the world and not the bad. I think that's the biggest issue. Once we get right with ourselves, once we start to love ourselves, then we can accept and see love in others. Until we really learn to love ourselves, work on ourselves, deal with our own stuff, we can't accept and find the love in others.
To me, I know that hurt people. And sometimes it's easy for us to look at bad situations and blame. And that's why when I talked 2 weeks ago about my history in relationships, one of the focuses I had was to take the blame. Because I know today that if I knew myself and if I loved myself enough, and if I was honest about what I wanted, I would never have entered in those relationships to start with, because they were doomed to fail. I set myself up for that. So I take the blame, 100% take the blame for that. I cannot undo it. Bad things happen to me. I cannot undo it, but I can learn from it. And I'm sure I've had clients who are men who have been telling me a lot of bad things about the women in their lives. So I'm pretty sure that we can put the shoe on the other foot as well. I think it's more a matter of what you experience and where you put the blame, in a sense. And hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Marina, it looks like we are at the bottom of our list. Well done.
So for those questions we did not get time for today, there's a few still. We will see how many there are, and we may get to you personally, or just unless we get another long list of questions for next month, we will roll them over. So thank you for being with us today.
Mm-hmm. And so starting next week, it'll be March, Marina. And for the month of March, because it's a very lucky month, we talk about gold coins and leprechauns and, that kind of, it's St. Patrick's Day coming up for those of us who celebrate that. What is the theme of March?
We're going to talk about money blocks and finances. We're also going to have 2 guest speakers in this month, and then we'll end the month again. We have 5 weeks in March. We'll end the month again with question and answer. This time we will focus more on keeping it theme related. And if there's anything else that comes up, you know where to find us.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yes, always is. Thank you, Fran.
Always is.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful week.
Marina. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.